One.
Welcome, 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 everybody. How you guys doing today? Oh my goodness, how long has it been? It's been a few. It's been a few.
Yeah.
How long? How long you think?
Live?
Yeah.
At least a month, yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. But we here. We back, baby. We here. The mob in the morning. Let your voice be heard. You already know how it is. This morning, we decided to come back. It's not that we decided to come back. We was just taking a break for the past month because we was relocating and doing everything when it comes to the office. But we here, we back, and opening the show with such a great person that we have today. We didn't put an announcement on anything because it's not needed, to be honest with you. Once this on, everybody gonna notice. With us is the mayor of Strasbourg. I always got problems saying her name, so I'm gonna let my daughter, which is she knows she have the English down packed, not like me. She'll say it. Okay.
Yeah, we have Mayor. Sorry, we have Stroudsburg Mayor Tarah Probst with us. Did I say that correctly?
Well, that's close. Don't worry.
Okay.
Everybody gets it wrong.
Okay.
It's Tara,
Yeah.
like Sarah with a T, and then Probst.
Probes.
Probst. There we
Oh my
go.
goodness, I got
Yeah.
it. Let me see. Probes. Did I say it
You
right?
got it. Very good.
How
Whenever
you
whenever I get the
doing?
automated calls, they always say Tara Probliest. They can't even get it right. So
Uh,
I'm used
uh,
to it.
how you been, Tara? How you doing today? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. It's so far so good today, you know?
Yeah.
Everything's been going pretty well. I had a tough July. I don't my mother who raised four kids as a waitress and was to me the best mom in the world. I know everybody says that about their mom. She passed away on July 9th, and it was a real struggle from the whole month, the end of June till the end of July. I'm still crying over it, you know.
Oh
So,
man.
but it was a tough month, but I'm doing much better. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, so sorry to hear about that. I know it's something that nobody never prepared for that.
Never,
Nobody.
right?
Yeah.
Even if you know it's coming, you just it's your mom, you know,
Yes. Yes.
and you have, I'm 51 years old, and I just went through like a movie reel in my head of 5 decades with her, and it went by like that. And you think you're old at 50, but when you really break down it into decades, how the time that we are here is absolutely nothing, it's the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
5 decades went by so quickly.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
a.
mean.
And no, yeah. I'm only been here for like 2 decades, so I can't imagine 5 decades. But then you look at my grandmother. She's wow, like she's almost at 100 now, right?
Yeah.
My mom's
Is
mom.
she really?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
She's
And
almost
she's
at 100.
very sane. Like she can talk to you in a very composed conversation and everything. It's not like she will say something crazy here and something.
Yeah.
No, she's very good. Actually, trying to make plans to see if we could go pass some times with them, with her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
I mean, you think about 10 decades, and then you're like, wow, like you've been around for a century. Like you've seen a lot.
crazy.
You've
That
experienced a
Yeah,
lot.
I mean, I can't imagine. I'd love to sit down, imagine like everything that she's gone through and seen and went through. I mean, it's a history lesson. It's everything we learned in school and then some, and then the real stories.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, but so we invited here Mayor Tara because she is running for state representative. Can you give me the district one more time? I know I have it
Sure,
here.
sure. I'm running for the Pennsylvania House of Representatives in the 189th district. So that district covers Delaware Water Gap, East Stroudsburg, and Stroudsburg boroughs. It covers Stroud Township precincts 1, 3, 6, and 7.
Okay.
It covers Smithfield, Middle Smithfield East. And then when you go up into Pike County, it's Lehman Township, Porter Township, and Delaware Township. It's roughly around 65,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty big. I mean, as soon as I heard, Little Smithfield Township, that's where we used to live at,
Yeah.
Bushkills,
Yeah.
all the way
Yep.
there. Wow, it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
It, it is. And I know the district, with my eyes closed because my grandmother was born and raised in East Stroudsburg, down by Dansbury Park. I mean, I'm from this area and I have been on all these roads my entire life. I did move away for 22 years, but came back in 2010. But my family always stayed here, so I
Yeah.
was always back home.
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons we wanted to have you on here was for people to get to know you. You know what I mean? To get to know who's running for our state rep in this district, the 189th district. Because, like you said, you're a local. You know the area. You know the people here. You know what's needed, what's not needed. You've been mayor. Is six
This is
years?
my seventh year.
Seventh
Yep,
year.
as mayor.
Seven.
Yep.
Wow.
7 years here of Stroudsburg Borough, and so we want people to get a chance to know you, to connect with you. We have some questions here. Do you guys want to get into it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Hey, listen. Let's be honest. Let's be real honest. What I do for a living, I'm a pastor. I pastor people. I teach. And I do all of these things in a kind of different manner that we, traditional way, because we are like, a little bit of different from the traditional, So
There is no traditional way, so it's fine. You make
yeah.
your own.
But in a way, what happened is that our community. When I'm talking about our community, I'm talking about the people who, for any reason, go to church and do this and do that, which is a lot of people in this area that have their daily habits or their habits in their life to go to any type of church or be part of something like that. What happened is I know my community. I've been here in that community for a long time, practically all my life. So yeah, we have this division. Let's call it like this. This is division in our community. When I'm talking about community, again, it's the church community that. Some of us will teach the people, well, no, don't get mixed into politics. Don't vote. Don't do this. Don't do that, because that's have nothing to do with us. And then you have the other part of the community, like me, that I think we should be involved into everything that happens in our community, because everything is for us and for everybody here. And we part of this community. We should be part of what's going on. And we like what you have done so far with the community.
Thank
So
you.
we are going to voice our opinion when it comes to this.
And furthermore, we want people to be more involved in your local elections. You know what I mean? I think so many times we have huge voter turnouts for like the president elections, and then when it comes to the local stuff, your state representatives, your mayors, the school boards, people that actually affect your everyday living, with the laws that they create, it's like we don't really pay mind to that, and then we're like, oh, why'd the taxes go up? And I'm like, oh, it's like you didn't vote the right people in.
Yeah, well, I want to recruit you right now to be a young leader because you're absolutely right, and you know that. And I'm serious when I say that. More young people are starting to get involved more, and it's wonderful. We can't just have. I mean, I'm going to be 51 this month, but we need young activists, no matter what side it is either. I mean, listen, I'm not saying young Democrats we need young people that care and realize the things that you just said. You get big turnouts for presidential elections, but right now, for example, and whether you agree with it or not, I just want to tell you some things. Right now in Harrisburg, our state representation, it has been Republican majority for the last 20 years, actually 20 plus. I can say thank God for Governor Wolf, because that is our only veto power. So, you're a church and you're a pastor, and what you do is phenomenal work, and I appreciate it so much. But and I hope you agree that church and state should never be involved, right? Church and state,
Yeah.
because there's too many different religions, all good. And there's just too much conflict when it comes to religion and somebody's maybe moral perspective versus a non-moral perspective,
Yeah.
whether it be science or whether it just be good government. So right now, they're trying to get religion back in public schools. Now, you know that it's not religion, it's only Christian. Now, I have wonderful friends who are Jewish, wonderful friends that are Muslim, wonderful friends that are Christian. The whole thing about public school is not getting religion involved and getting an education and learning how to get along in diverse, with diverse people, with diverse backgrounds, with, different religious beliefs, and learn how to live in a peaceful place. And public school it's it's a guarantee in the Pennsylvania Constitution that Pennsylvanians have a quality education. And to throw religion into public schools is just not going to work.
Yeah.
And that's why church and state is separated.
I mean, for
And I think that, so they're trying to pass that. Governor can veto. They're trying to make it, now again, whether you agree with me or not, they're trying to make it that an embryo is a living person. And that means that they're, for example, a woman that has a miscarriage, which is awful. They need a death certificate. People that can't have babies and are trying to do, IV. If they have 8 embryos, as you know, you can't carry 8 children. They take the top 3 or something. I'm just giving examples.
Yeah.
Those are their embryos. You could be charged for murder. I mean, this is how extreme this, they always say, oh, the radical left. Let me tell you, the Pennsylvania Senate and House and this guy that's running on the Republican ticket for governor right now, they are the most radical, extreme people for your individual rights and freedoms than ever before. And it's downright dangerous. And as a woman, it's very scary to me because I grew up in a time where women are we're still not equal.
Yeah.
But we work hard and we have that freedom to fight hard and we have earning power and we're now presidents of companies. We're vice presidents of the United States. We're actually on the Supreme Court right now, and it's all going to go backwards with this crazy legislation and it's holding a woman down. And it really scares me. For the first time in my life, I'm truly scared. And people don't realize that just because the politicians that represent you might have a smile on their face, might show up at your son's Boy Scout thing and send you a birthday card, what they're voting for is dangerous. And people don't realize that. So you need to find out what your candidates believe in. You need to find out where they stand and you need to vote, and you need to vote local, not just presidential and governor. So this election in 2022, our civil rights, our civil liberties, a woman's right is on the ballot, and it's a fact. And that is important enough for anyone who's of voting age to vote. Even if you don't agree with me, go out and vote in opposite of me. But if you don't vote, do not complain.
Yeah. I mean, just like I told you from the beginning, I'll be honest with you. I don't think that many people have seen their mentality that we come with. The mentality, the roots living as an organization, base. Let's call it about base Christianity. Okay, fine, whatever. It comes like that. But the way that we approach and the way that we see things from the religious perspective is very different from your typical Christianity.
Yeah.
We don't think nothing like the typical Christianity. Let's be very, I have to, because, at the same way, I don't want to have to be labeled as you know what I mean, as somebody
Right.
who's a hard-headed and doesn't can see things through. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what you've been explaining, which I really agree with you 100%. I don't think religion should be with none of that, because religion is just a bunch of doctrines and let's be honest, it's a bunch of doctrines and a bunch of teachings that benefit an organization, not a relation. Your relation with your spiritual father is your own relation.
Right.
I don't have to put rules into that so you can understand him, or put my moral values, which I'm putting my consciousness into yours. That's not
Yes.
that's not fair. You have your own consciousness with your
Right.
own God, and you do, as you please, and however however you understand him. Because when we start putting these old rules and doctrines based on the benefit of an organization, calling this in this moment the ecclesiastic world, Hey, listen, atrocities have been done in the name of that.
Well,
So
look at all the major wars. I mean, go back in the history of time,
yeah, yeah.
religious
Oh,
wars,
it's
and
about
it
everything
still
is about
is.
religion.
I
And listen, I mean, I'm all about, I believe in a higher power, and I believe that you just be kind, be good, it doesn't matter what religion you're in, Jesus existed, right? And they
Yeah.
all know that no matter what role you put him at, he was a good man. I
Hmm.
mean, he cared for the poor. He went, so if we can just, to me, take those teachings no matter what and say, look, all I'm going to do is I'm going to be good to people. I'm going to try my best every day to be a good person. I'm going to try to help out as much as I can for people in need. And I'm just going to try to live my life and do the right things. I think that that is in us, most of us, in us all.
Yeah.
And I think that, like you just said, don't my conscience is different than
Yeah.
somebody
That's
else's.
right.
And um, you know, just we talked about this a little bit before we got on the air,
Yeah.
but I told you, I moved 11 times in 16 years growing up in East Stroudsburg, always in the borough though, because my mom was a waitress with 4 kids and a single mom. And I've seen, that's the thing. I mean, I had to move 11 times. I remember a kerosene heater for the heat. I remember when my mom's restaurant where she worked burnt down,
Hmm.
and we were, I mean, it was tough. I had a village though. I had an Aunt Barb and a grandmother who without these 3 women in my life, I never needed for love or food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We might have had to have moved a lot, but it takes a village to raise a family.
Yes.
It takes a village in everything you do. Even as the mayor of Stroudsburg, when people say to me, "Oh, Tara, great job. I love what you're doing down there." And I'm like, it's not just me. I can't do this alone.
That's
I
right.
need my borough council. I need the residents. I need the staff at the borough. So it's one of those things. It's never like a I alone mentality. If you don't have good people surrounding you and supporting you, I don't think anyone's going to get very far in life. And I also know that growing up in East Stroudsburg the way that I did, oh God, I've lived the struggles. I have lived the struggles that people experience today, where the paycheck's going to come for the next, for the food. My mom didn't have a car for a while. One time she taped she taped a leaf over the inspection sticker because it wouldn't pass. This is like going back to
Hey,
1976, and it
listen.
worked, right? But I also will say on this flip side, okay, because this is something I think is very important. I have seen the struggles, but I'm also a white woman. I also had a lot of advantages. So when I graduated high school, I went to college. College was a lot cheaper then, believe me. I worked through college. I got a job right out of school. I had much success. And we do know that um, generational racism, and I don't even know I don't know how to say this. All I'm saying is, even though I was poor, I still had privilege. And I think until people recognize that, you hear that saying, oh, just pull up your bootstraps and get to work. Well, you know what? For some families, it's not that easy because they want to do that, but you won't hire them.
Mm.
Or they want to go to school, but you won't accept them. Or they, and until you realize that there was always generational, you know, people of color being held down who
Okay.
didn't get the opportunities that I had, even though I may have been poor. I still had other opportunities because I was white and a female. And I know that. And one of the beauties of being the mayor of Stroudsburg is that we are so diverse right now.
Mm.
I mean, so diverse. And we changed the slogan to our town. It's diversity, equality, community. We had a Juneteenth celebration. We had Pride celebration. We have Latin Fest.
Hmm.
We put the all the Latin flags in September for the Heritage Month. This is like beautiful to me
Yeah.
because it's different than when I grew up, and our town embraces all of the different culture. And if it wasn't for our diverse community, my kid wouldn't experience what he experiences now. It's wonderful. He goes to Stroudsburg. He is, 30% white, 30% black, 30% Latino, 10% Asian. I'm just giving you an example. It's
Yeah.
such a diverse
Hmm.
school, and friends of all religions and races, and people are people. It doesn't matter the color of their skin. And I think that's more prevalent today in this borough than ever before. And I'm so proud of that. And I just, it's really important to me to get that message out there. Stroudsburg, we're the only municipality in Monroe County to have a human relations committee. That means if you are discriminated based on the color of your skin, your religion, your, sex, whatever, you have a path to the court of the common pleas because we have a human relations committee. We will not
Really?
accept it in our town. And that's something I'd like all municipalities to do. Um, I don't know. I feel very fortunate and lucky to be the mayor of Stroudsburg. I feel very fortunate and lucky to have grown up in East Stroudsburg. And I just, running for this House of Representatives is not about me and my political motivations. It's about what I say that we're
That's
able
right.
to accomplish in Stroudsburg and what I know we can get done for my portions of Monroe and Pike County to help Pennsylvanians. So that's why I'm running.
I mean, yes. Listen, when we got here, what is it? 10 years ago?
2010, yeah.
Yeah.
2010.
When we got here 10 years ago, we was in the area of Bushkills.
Mhm.
We come from the city. We're New Yorkers. She's a New Yorker.
Yep.
For us coming over here in vacation, it was pretty cool. We come here, we stay here for the weekend, and we go back to the city until the moment that we said, well, we got to move to Pennsylvania. So when we move here, then we find out all the other things where the snow and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want to get to the point where when I got here, you're talking about the color, the races, this and that, and I'm a person that I be. If you can see me, you're looking at me right now, I get misunderstood like a lot. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you, right? so, at the beginning, I was here. I would go with my daughters. I always with my daughters, so I would go to Walmart or whatever.
He's Hispanic.
Yeah. So I'm walking around or whatever, and they see me and everything is good. Once I say thank you or how you doing, it's like they looking at me like confused, like
Yeah.
okay, are you white or are you not? Oh, yeah. Got Irish in my
Doesn't
blood.
matter.
Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? It does
Yeah.
not matter. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter if I look or I talk or whatever. It's like you said, and we got to a point right now, 10 years, uh, after that, and right now there's a lot of Spanish community here, a lot,
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
Spanish community.
Even the way you described the school system, I mean, I went to JTL when we first moved here, and what a culture shock because I never went to school with white kids. I didn't know what
Right.
that was. There was like one white kid in my entire school growing up in the Bronx. I went to
Right.
school with majority was African American Hispanic kids, and then I
Right.
come here, and then I was the minority. I was like, well, what's going on? Like, this
Right.
is so odd. None of my teachers were, people of color. None of the students were. It was a huge culture shock. So hearing now that in Strasbourg at least there's that diversity, and I've been seeing it even in like the Pocono Mountain school districts. You know what I mean? Their
Right.
numbers have also gone up. It's
Yep.
it's definitely changed the culture here in Stroudsburg and Monroe County in
Yes.
general.
And I mean, it's for the better. I mean, serious, not to sound funny, but even the foods that my kid was exposed to versus what I was exposed to in the 70s, right? I
Okay.
never had an empanada until I was in my 20s. I'm just giving an example.
My
And I
goodness.
mean, but food, food to me is important because like if you love Middle Eastern food and you love just any type of ethnic food, I know it sounds dumb. It's something that you can sit down at a meal and have a conversation and say, oh, this is a tradition that my family has made it this way. I just think it's like something we can all love. It's like music, sort of. You know
Food
what
is
I
the
mean?
way to unite
And
it. Food
it,
unites everything.
it does.
By the
And
way, I'm a chef. My daughter too. We was a chef before all
well,
of
that's
this.
awesome.
I was a chef for 20 years, and I did my intern on Tavern on the Green in New York City. So I know what I'm talking about when I said
Well,
that.
It
Yeah,
is.
it
That's
unites
wonderful. And
everything.
I I remember there was a singer in the 50s, a piano player. He was a black man named Fats Domino. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No, no, no,
Okay.
no.
Well, in the South, back in the 50s, you can imagine what that was like for him to play.
Yeah.
But they'd allow him to play in certain clubs. Of course, he couldn't stay in the nice hotels or anything like that. But both, white and black people could go and watch him, and they were dancing and having a good time together. Then after the concert, you know,
Huh.
they couldn't have a talk.
Uh-huh.
And I watched that documentary a long time ago, and I was thinking to myself, isn't that crazy? Like, you both love the way this guy sings and sounds, and you're having a good time together, but then you can't talk to them when that's over with, and you have to separate. And I just, there's certain things that bring people together. So I know that's just it might sound like a quote unquote cheesy example,
Yeah.
but I think that diversity in culture is good. And I mean, New York City, you guys, that's been a melting pot since the day,
Yeah.
they built their first building there. And I think it's the way the world is, and we have to love it and embrace it. And people are people. We all come in this world the same way,
I
through a
think
woman.
I think big
So
part. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely. I think you said something earlier which it really got my attention right away, because this is one of the things that we do here as a community, as an organization in the community. We don't try to impose anybody, like I said before, doctrines, religions, all of that stuff, because you said something really important earlier. You said, well, Jesus was Jesus. Yeah, and you are absolutely right. And he didn't thought none about all these religions. He didn't thought none about these doctrines. He didn't thought none about none of these things.
he was
He
Jewish.
it- basically, yeah. And he just thought about behavior in your
Right,
community. Behave how you behave with the
right,
people in your community. That's all he thought about. Everything else is an extra that people put in
right.
there, which we don't. We just kind of we want to stay with the with what it is. Well, what it is learning how to live in a community with diversity of thinking, where everybody can be free to do whatever they want. You don't have to be like me.
Right.
And matter of fact, you can't be like me, because if you be like me, there's no diversity, there's no sazón. Decimos nosotros. We say
Yeah.
that in Spanish, season, right? You need the
Yes.
sazón. The
Yep.
season, it's if you look at our season, it is composed of many herbs and many things, and that's what gives that explosion of flavors,
Right.
And this is how we do as people. So if we start putting people into strainers and into filters, that I don't think it's the right.
Well, exactly. And you know what? It's happening again.
Yeah.
And it's worse than ever before. And it's a division, and it's really doesn't need to be there. There's that saying, like, love thy neighbor. It's like, I always think, like, wow, if your neighbor's doing good, then you're doing good, because there's support. I mean, we still knock on doors. Like, I'll send my son across the street. I'm like, go ask Erica if she has baking soda. I'm serious. Like, this is how I
Really?
live my life. And I just think having a strong neighbors and communities, and we're diverse on my street. I just love it. I'm lucky.
Now I'm seeing. Now I can see why they re-elect you again.
Oh, well,
Huh?
thank you.
Of
Thank
course,
you.
yeah, of course, because some you have to be like that. You have to be part of the people next to you.
You
You know.
do. And I'll tell you that my first election, this is really important, because for people that sit back, because we're talking about voting, right?
Yeah.
For someone that says, well, my vote doesn't count, it doesn't matter, or she's going to win anyway, I don't want to vote.
Mm.
My very first election, I was in a special election in 2015 because the mayor of Stroudsburg had passed away. And I won by 33 votes.
Wow.
So if 33 people didn't wake up that day and decide to vote for me, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today.
Basically.
My second election, which was 2 years later in 2017, because that's when, I had a special election in 15, I won by 67% of the vote. And my third election, I won by 70% of the vote, with, I believe it was a 68% turnout in the borough, which is unheard of. I mean, God, if we had 68% of the people vote in the United States, that it would be wonderful. So I'm here to say that I can't do it without people voting for me. And if anyone rests on their laurels and says, well, it's only one vote, it's not going to matter for her. Well, if a lot of people say that,
Yeah.
I could lose. And an example was in 2013 when only 28% of the people came out and voted. 2013 was a horrific year for Monroe County for the people that got in between school districts. Well, it would be it was 2013, but it was for the January 14, incumbents and things like that. It was awful, and it set the tone, and it's been horrible ever since. And so good news is this. Let me talk about Stroudsburg and Monroe County. The good news is that, well, good news for me, maybe not for people watching. Since 2016, we've been a blue county. It means that people are starting to vote, and we went from red, which is Republican, to blue Democrat. So we have been voting Democrat ever since 2016. We were on national news channels in 2020, the borough of Stroudsburg, for literally like helping put Biden over the edge. And little things like that gives you pride, like, hey, my vote counted, and here's how it counted. And I just want people to continue to vote. And these mail-in ballots are wonderful because, like you said, you came from New York, you were living up in Bushkill. How many people are on that Martz bus at 6:30 in the morning and don't get home till 7 o'clock at night? They can't vote.
I'm talking about you talking roughly. You're talking about maybe 70% of that mountain will do that.
Well, absolutely. You know that Lehman Township
Yeah.
and Middle Smithfield Township and Smithfield have some of the longest commutes in the nation.
Yeah.
Because they have to leave to go earn money to feed their families, right?
Yeah.
Of course, my goal is to get better jobs and have a better quality of life for our area. And I have a lot of top priorities in public education, that a woman's right. All of that's up, all of that's at the top, and you got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time, which I can do, and I've proven to be able to do. But people are more involved now. The people that maybe moved here 10, 15 years ago from New York and New Jersey, they actually do things in the area. Their roots are in the ground now. Their feet are in the ground. This is their roots, and they have a say on who's elected. And because of the mail-in option, I'm telling you, it's changed everything. They should have a say, and they never did before, because let's face it, election day is one day. It's like they don't want you to vote because, when people can't vote, only one party gets in office, right? The minute people can vote and it's accessible to get to the ballot and to let your voice be heard, when it's fair, even playing field, Democrats win and democracy prevails. So as far as I'm concerned, don't ever for 1 second think that your vote doesn't matter, because I'm living proof that it does.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
I was just gonna, so we looked on your website. By the way, anyone watching who wants to know a little bit more, I know Friends of Tarah, your Facebook?
Yeah, so my website, it's so funny since nobody can say my name right, so I have to spell it. It's Tarah, Tarah,
Tarah.
Probst, P like Paul, R like Robert, O like Oscar, B like boy, S like Sam, T like Tom, .com.
Okay.
Exactly. And there you can see a host of issues and things that, she wants to work on and all that kind of good stuff. But I was digging a little bit, before our interview, because I do that. And some of the things that you were just mentioning there are things that you have on your website talking about job creation and, how we have such high commute rates here in our county. Like you said, Lehman Township specifically. What are one of those ways that can you explain a little bit more that whole job creation?
Yeah, there's a domino effect going on here. So let's talk about Monroe County as a whole. Monroe County is dead last in Pennsylvania for school funding. Dead last. So there are basically there's 501 school districts. So take out Pleasant Valley, Pocono Mountain, East Stroudsburg, and Stroudsburg, -4. There's 497 districts that get more money than we do in the state. So what does that mean? That means our school taxes are high. What does that mean? That means that you're putting seniors out of their home. That means that rents are so sky high because the landlord has to pay their taxes. And it means people have to leave the area to be able to live so that they can afford all of this. Okay. So goal number one is to get our fair share of funding. So we are supposed to be funded by 50% we're only funded Stroudsburg's under 30, so is East Stroudsburg. That's why the taxes are so high. So number one, our local government, and I'm going to call them out by name, I don't care. Mario Scavello, Rosemary Brown, and Jack Rader have failed you. They may have been your friends, they may have sent you birthday cards, but they vote to send school funding to charter schools, and they want voucher systems for private schools, and they give more money to people in cyber, not brick and mortar, cyber, than they do for kids that go to public schools. So don't blame the teachers. Blame your state legislators that have not gotten it done, because nobody complained about school taxes until these people were in office, because they don't vote to fair fund our public schools. When you fair fund our schools, our taxes will be reduced, which in turn means, number one, the kids are going to get a better education because they're going to put extra programs back in schools that they actually had to cut. You're going to have more than 2 languages. You're going to have 3 or 4 options. There's going to be more extracurricular activities for kids that maybe live up in Bushkill and they don't want to go home after school. They want to do something fun. Well, now there's an activity bus that can actually take them home at a later time. These are the things that are cut. Guidance counselors, nurses, because our local representatives did not do their job. So now it's time. The gerrymandering's over. You need to elect myself. You need to elect Jennifer Shakaitis. You need to elect Hope Chrisman and Maureen Madden so that we can get these schools funded and instantly put more money back, not only in people's pockets, but fund our schools for our kids. Now, if someone says, well, I don't have any kids, that's not fair, I have to pay their taxes. Well, then I say somebody paid for you and we're paying for your Social Security. So it's a community. We have to give for one another, and that's how we thrive. So we need to reduce the taxes so seniors can live and stay in their homes, so people can afford to rent and buy without the taxes being more than the mortgage, and so that our kids have a quality education. The only reason I'm mayor was fighting for public schools in Stroudsburg, and I started that in 2014, and the rest is history. So I'm sorry I'm getting like really pointy, and this is really important to me, because how do we have a better quality of life? Well, we fund our schools, and instantly you're going to see people with more money in their pockets. And then our roads. I mean, PennDOT, you tell me what our state representatives have done to make our roads better. They go and they do the 7th Street Bridge, and 2 years later, they got to redo it. Do it right. Quality. Don't just keep people working for the sake of working. Do it right. Do it with quality. Make it last 10 or 15 years, and then go to the next project. There's plenty of work to do. So we just have to keep redoing things, because our legislators, they don't care. They just, go ahead, redo it. I mean, they're putting a roundabout in East Stroudsburg right now. Are you kidding me? A roundabout in East Stroudsburg. Number one, most places are getting roundabouts taken out because they're, 20 years, they need new modern technologies. They did the one in Delaware Water Gap too small, and the trucks were running into them. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, right? Roads lead to jobs. Public education funded leads to more money in people's pockets, and a better community for all, and kids that will have a quality education and move on in their career. So when you have that, you have entrepreneurs. When you have that, you have businesses opening up in the Poconos. When you have that, you create jobs. So it's a domino effect. And our current legislators, with exception of Maureen Madden, have not gotten the job done, and they've been there way too long. And I know she smiles and she's nice and she says, God bless you, Rosemary Brown, but Jen Shakaitis needs to win, or it's just getting worse. So these are things people need to know. Don't vote for someone because you like them. Don't vote for them because they're nice to you. Vote for them because of how they're going to vote to represent your interests. You can be nice to them all you want. Doesn't mean you got to pull the lever when you're in the voting box.
Hey, listen, I'll be, we haven't been the people that will get into these politics and things like that in the past. Because let me be real honest with you, in the past. Now it's different because now we have built an organization, and what we do is we provide food, or we provide, the help that people need. Sometimes information. We deal a lot with the Spanish community. The barrier of the language is crazy, because some people sometimes they don't have any idea of how to tap into this help that it's from the government and this like that. and
Right.
and I'll be honest with you, we got numbers. I got numbers because I have people listening to me 24/7. Every time I speak, I speak in Spanish. Normally the programs that I
Yep.
do are in Spanish, so I know I have that big community behind us, because we not because I'm speaking, no, because we have helped this community, but
Right.
now we have seen the necessity, in order, the necessity that it's in there, and the necessity to get involved into
Right.
all of this. You know what I mean? So before we was not involved the way it is, now we will be getting involved into all of this, because what you said before, you said something there that is very valid, very valid. Come on, guys. Since I came here like 10 years ago, and I saw the construction of what was it?
611.
611 for 7 years. Come on.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was a time that I was like, I want to come through here and I don't want to see this anymore.
Right.
And let's not count the time that they do working. You know what I mean? They do work. What you said earlier about the housing, that it's something that I see that affect our community right now. All the applications that we have, and all the applications that my wife is doing right now, because she's the administrator when it comes to all of that, to NAMI and mental health and all of that stuff.
Yep.
All the applications that we have right now, it's because of that. Try to people get help to pay some light bill, try people to pay their rent, because the rent, like you said, it's the rents went
Well,
up,
and it's because the homeowners' taxes are more than the mortgage. So they have to, in order, you're not going to rent to someone to lose money. You can't do that. You're just hoping to break even. You know what I mean? So um, it's outrageous. And the current people running the show in our county have let us down. And I don't know why, just because somebody's says hello to you in public or shows up at your kid's birthday party, you vote for them. You can do that. You can be friends. You could be nice. You could be a community. But man, their votes for your everyday life when you're struggling, it's truthfully, that's why they're not voting to help you. You know what really bugs me? I think about people who say, for women that stay home with their kids, right? Oh, staying home with their kids, that's welfare, right? This really upsets me because that is the hardest job in the world. I couldn't do it. I mean, I don't, I know women with master's degrees that stay home with their kids to raise them, and a lot of them are European. And it is such a hard job. I'd rather go to work. I'd rather be reporting somewhere than have done that. I wasn't that type of mom. I love my kids so much. And thank God I had my Aunt Barb who wanted to watch him while I worked. I was lucky, my village,
yeah,
But in countries like Germany and countries like England, you stay home with your kid. They give you money to help you out because they want you to. They want you to be able to nurture your child, take care of your child, teach your child, get them ready for school. And here we call it welfare, right? And it's so derogatory for these women. More expensive. Childcare is so expensive that it's more than what a person earns an hour. So how are you supposed to do both? There's just so many things we could do. If we invested in early education, if we invested in, preschool, mandatory pre-K, and we put the money towards that, the workforce would be more, that it's just, everything is so backwards the way that the people in our government right now that are running Monroe County think. They think, they want to tax waitresses and waiters for tips. Oh, we'll get them on the tips. Like, why are you going after these little small things instead of going after the big issues?
that's
Like,
right.
go after the important things.
That's right.
So there's just so much. I mean, listen, we could sit here and talk for another hour, but we've got real problems and daily problems,
Yeah.
and they're fixable and they're attainable and they can get done. We've just been blocked. We've been blocked by a group in Monroe County, with exception of Maureen Madden. She votes for all of this. It just doesn't get anywhere because, the House and Senate majority are Republicans. So nothing, she could put a bill up right now that's a great bill on the House floor, and they'll never see it because they won't even put a Democrat's bill out. It's their agenda and their agenda only. So people need to come out and vote in Monroe County. They're fair districts. You vote for your politician. You pick your politician, not the other way around. Okay, so for the last decade, they've been picking who their voters are, not you. Now it's switched. Now, I'm just saying, if you don't know what's going on in Harrisburg, just Google what the Republican Party is doing in Harrisburg. Google pa.gov, register to vote, and then see what the Democrats are trying to do. We're trying to fund education. We've been trying for a decade to fund education, and we can't because we can't get the votes because there's not enough of us. So this is the time for change. It's now, and I just I thank you for letting me go on that rant. There's so many other things I want to talk about, but
no, don't worry. Don't worry. It's fine. Listen, we give the space to everybody. When they come here, that's our slogan. Let your voice be heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You talk, whatever's in your heart, all of that. I'm just, I needed more time because I wanted to get into a subject with you that is very important with me. I know you have to go because I know
if you want to ask me quick, I'll give you the quick answer before
okay,
we go.
I want to talk about drug addiction. That's in my heart. I come out of there. I was once in a place where nobody gave a dime about me, and today I have my whole family back, and I went through that basically.
I'm with you, and I just want to say, and I got to make this short because I could go on about this for an hour.
Yes.
So, I have a law degree, but my job, I work besides mayor. I work part-time at Brookdale Drug and Alcohol Recovery. I know the effects of drug addiction. It's a disease. The American Medical Association says it's a disease.
Yes.
You can't be fired for going into rehab if you have this disease. And it's plaguing our nation with the opioid crisis, the deaths, the substance abuse. I absolutely see it every single day. And we need state and federal funding for this. And, Josh Shapiro, who's running for governor, he's the one that took on the pharma for the opioid crisis, and he won. So Josh Shapiro this is one of his top priorities as well, who's running for the deputy governor. He's the attorney general right now. He's wonderful. And this is something that's not only going to be coming from our local levels, it's going to be coming from a state level and a governor's level to do something about this. Now, he already has. Like I said, he took on the opioid crisis and he won. He beat pharma. And when I say that, money came to the state for these programs. It's right now, it's not enough. We need more.
Yes.
What is really scary is working at Brookdale is mental health is out of control right now. There are so many mental health issues beyond me growing up. I mean, it's everywhere. And a lot of times they're co-occurring. A lot of times, the drug abuse starts because of a mental health issue that was missed or not diagnosed, or maybe you're from a family that never gave two craps about you and just, hey, you do whatever you want. And we need early intervention, early education. We definitely need a better system. The prison pipeline doesn't work for drug addicts. Okay. There has to be something else. And there is. And it's, look, someone that's in rehab, if they get out and they slip and they get themselves back on the horse into rehab, we've already won, because that means they know a better life. They know it's an addiction. They're trying to get help.
Absolutely.
But we need to get the mental health. We need to get something done. They're homeless. And it's not their fault.
No.
They're mentally ill. They're not on medications. They're not being diagnosed. They're being left out for the world to just trample on. And then in turn, sometimes mental illness affects our communities because they're not so good people.
Yeah.
It's the disease.
Yeah.
But they're harmful.
Yes.
And they're harmful to others.
Yes.
And that is dangerous.
Yes.
So, when I say I'm a bleeding heart, but I'm not a bleeding heart for that. When it's dangerous and criminal, that needs to be taken care of right away. And
Absolutely.
So it's a real fine line, right? And it's something that they don't do anything about right now. It's like, oh, here's $3,000 towards mental health. Well, what the hell is that going to do?
No,
Can you
Definitely.
break?
Listen, we be working there for all this time. We working there. That's where our heart is. That's where we're gonna continue working. You know, but like you said, resources. Let's be honest. It's only me, my daughter, and my family. If you look at Roots Living Ministry or Roots Living organization, which right now we are in the middle of just putting that word right there because we get misunderstood all the time, and I don't like to be misunderstood. I like to be straight up. Hey, I like to be straight up.
I'm
That's
with
right.
you.
So I know we here to work. We just need resources. We can work with all of these people and we can build things out here for the community. We just need the resources to work with the community
And there need,
because
yes, and organizations like yours should get funding. You need funding. You
yeah,
need help because all you want to do is help the people that we can't right now.
yeah.
And yeah, well, you and I will be talking. I'm not even worried about that, and that's a fact. And all the organizations that want to help because this needs to get a hold on, and it's really scary because winter's coming and there's homeless people. I know in Stroudsburg we have 12 homeless people that we know of. We know their names. We make sure that they get their services. A lot of people are a car accident away from being homeless because they lose their job. It can really happen. The mental and the drug addiction and the mental health, that's a crisis right now. I mean, it's a crisis
No,
and
it's
more needs to be done.
I got boots on the ground. So I know. Believe me, I know everything that it's happening. I'm not sitting behind this microphone and that's it. No, no, no. I walk out there a lot. Every week I walk out there. I go in there. I talk to them because I know it's like I told you before. It is it's my heart because it's where I'm coming from. And I
You have
know
a
it
good
can
heart.
be done. Yeah, I know it can be done because I am your living proof of that. I'm standing right here. One day I was like that. Today, I have my kids, my family, everything next to me, working with me. You know what I mean? So
So you're the inspiration. You're the story.
I think we
You're living
all
I
proof.
think we all, we
we
all,
all because when it's addiction, it's not just the person that's going through the addiction, it's the entire family that gets affected. I mean, I
Keeps you up at
had
night.
my own diagnosis,
yeah,
through so we both together we facilitate the NAMI connection support group because we both
Yep.
have a lived experience of that. And
Right.
so being able to as a family come out of it together, it's one thing like the individual story, but to see the entire family come to like a restoration. And we were like, we want other families to experience what we have
that
experienced,
restoration.
was what drove us to start Roots and to
Well,
continue.
that's why I love you guys. And I'm so
Yeah.
sorry I have to
I
go.
know, I know, I
Good
know.
night.
We
Good
holding you
night.
hostage.
Okay.
Thank you so
So much.
much. Thank you
I had
so
a
much,
great time.
Sarah.
Invite me back anytime. I really loved talking to
Yeah.
you two, and I love what you do, and you're good people. And please don't forget about me. If you ever want to do this again, just say the word.
Okay.
We
Thank
definitely
you so
will.
much.
Thank you
Thank you.
so
We
much for
definitely will.
watching. Remember, elections, everybody. Go check out her website if you're interested in learning a little bit more about how she feels on these issues and what she wants to do. Knowledge is power.
That's right.
So stay tuned because we have some exciting stuff coming up next week. And we'll see you guys.
I'm good. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. Thank you, Tara. Thank you.
Bye. Wait, adios, right?